Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Speck Presidio case for the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Now, I've been using this pretty much since I got my Note 8, and I have to tell you, as far as acrylic style, even though it's not acrylic, it's more of a rubberized but yet firm acrylic case that's clear, still gives you a view of your phone, picks up the fingerprints instead of the phone itself, which of course is all glass all around. I think you have one of the sharper cases on the market. Solid. If you drop it, I mean, I don't want to talk about dropping this phone, because if you drop it, all bets are really off with any phone. But it is pretty rugged. So if you're thinking about, those $10 acrylic clear Amazon cases that we all know, some of us love, some of us do not. This is not in that league. Speck positioned this at $45 US retail to go head to head with OtterBox's Symmetry, which is all about protecting this phone, but doing so in a minimal fashion that does not take away from the aesthetic beauty that the Note 8 packs out of the box. And I have to say, they've accomplished that. Now, it isn't a perfect case. I haven't had any reports of callers telling me they couldn't hear me because of the cutout orientation here. There's no blocking of the microphone. The same applies to the speaker. Speaker works perfectly well. I will tell you that the S Pen is a little bit difficult not to access on the first click necessarily, even though I just had a problem. But it's once you get the pen out, getting it back in, getting it to actually hook in, you really have to, at least I have to, stab at it. Now, keep in mind, if you can catch the right angle, you'll see exactly how recessed that is, and you'll quickly realize why recessing it that much does make it a little bit more difficult. But if that's at the cost of protecting the phone, I don't think it's a big deal. No problem pressing any of the buttons. For those of you curious if the volume rocker or Bixby button or your remap to Google Home Assistant button or the power button, no problems using those whatsoever. So anyone worried about stiff buttons because of the type of plastic used to make the Speck Presidio, I can't speak for the Symmetry. I couldn't get that. That's really why the Speck is here. And I, again, did purchase this. Speck did not furnish me with anything. It's solid. I mean, no problems pressing the buttons. I have read some things about the Symmetry being tight, but I've read things about the buttons on here being tight. That could be a case-by-case basis, but at least with the one that I have that I bought from good old Worst Buy, no problems. None whatsoever. Another thing I want to point out, though, downside on this, again, because it isn't perfect, nothing is in this world, incredibly slippery. And I don't mean in the hand, even though it is. I mean on any surface. I mean, right now on the desk, this thing will slide. If you have this on any surface, it will slide, it will spin, it will do things that I really would rather it not do. And one of the things I generally look for in a case for any phone, even though I like to go naked, most of the time I prefer to let it all hang out, mobily. But when I am getting dressed up, I prefer something with a little more grip, something a little more texture oriented. And this does not exist in this acrylic Presidio world that Speck has created for your Note 8. Whether or not that's a game breaker, I mean, you really have to make that decision for yourself in person by putting the phone in the case. Make sure you purchase it from a reputable retailer, which I won't even call Worst Buy that. I mean, I like some of the people at my local one. They know who they are. And then there are others that I just, I'll stop there. But the point here is that it's a slippery little case for a large phone. And that's not the best thing for the Note 8. But again, at this price point, the only other competing product is the OtterBox Symmetry, and I believe it suffers from the exact same fault or flaw. I kind of just combine those words. You see, I'm thinking too quickly here for my own mouth. That is a small price to pay, in my opinion, for the protection it affords and the aesthetic that it maintains, which is exactly what both Speck and OtterBox are after with these clear cases because they've seen the rise in popularity and know that all of these companies are making pieces of crap, selling them at $10, amazing margins. People think they have protection when really they just have a basic condom wrapped around their phone. This is not a condom. This is like a bulletproof condom. But again, it's a slippery one, and it does make inserting and removing the pen difficult. This got dirty quickly. But overall, I can recommend this case if, again, you're after clear protection. Oh, it doesn't stop. This is probably, other than the OtterBox Symmetry, the best option on the market right now. But it's also the most expensive, so no surprise there. You can get this discounted. Best Buy had a promotion, buy 3 accessories, and they took a percentage off. I'm sure you'll see this thing drop with time. After all, it is a piece of plastic that Speck, as well as OtterBox, are gouging everyone on because they have the right to do so. They're making a better product than anyone else. But that pretty much sums things up right now from my experience with this case. I'm happy with it. I don't see a reason to replace it. And by the way, it is compatible with the Invisible Shield curved glass screen protector, which you may or may not have noticed is on this phone, which I'll also be covering in another video. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.